Thank you guys all for having me here today. Obviously very excited. We've been working with Plug and Play for, I think almost 4 years now across the various groups and offices. And it's always exciting to see what they're up to next. So Aclaimant is an insight-driven workflow solution for safety and risk management. We help companies identify and protect what's important. But our basic premise here, to echo a lot of the things that have been discussed today, is really around finding ways to use technologies to make companies safer, to make companies healthier, and to make companies have fewer incidents, accidents, and injuries, which can hurt both culture, productivity, cost, and insurance premiums and claims. So we call ourselves a solution to enable companies to actively manage risk and understand its power. And in plain English, the companies that are making sure everyone is safe are actually outperforming in terms of hiring, they're outperforming in terms of cost, they're outperforming in terms of jobs and bids. And we find that in general, companies that are actively managing worker injuries, vehicle accidents, things like cat risk, are outperforming their peers by over 5 times. We try to take an approach for taking this function of the people who are making sure everyone is safe and come to work every day, can go home every day healthy, and try to make it a beautiful experience, bringing the modern software architecture to create a platform that's really facilitating creating healthier, happier, and safer environments at the workplace. We do this by combining workplace safety, incident and claims workflow, and analytics all into a single, easy to use platform. Again, for that sole purpose of making sure that everybody, no matter if we're talking about damage, insurance claim, et cetera, can all manage everything in a single platform. We do things like digitizing the regulatory process and automating, simplifying compliance for organizations like OSHA, the Department of Transportation. So whenever anything goes wrong across any facility, any site, versus calling someone to figure out what should happen, we make it press a button and automation happens all the way through. We track commercial property and casualty claims for employers. And so everything across costs, follow-up, next steps, et cetera, are all designed to help make sure that the company, the employer, can focus not necessarily on what has to happen next, who needs to be involved, but on getting an injured worker back to work more efficiently, more quickly, and ensuring that there's not unnecessary cost or burden for the employer or for the employee. And we track books of business and portfolios for people in the insurance ecosystem, because we find that the organization of data, the compilation of analytics, the cleaning and scrubbing and ability to drive innovation and insight off of all of this information is really a phenomenal way to unlock value in an often forgotten part of the ecosystem. We've been around now for about 7 years, been validated by a number of industry leaders across insurance, including companies in Chicago like Aon and ESIS and Gallagher, as well as industry leading organizations and employers who have large fleets, large spends, and large activity that they're kind of working through from a risk perspective, including people like Kelly Services, Caesars Entertainment, and Carvana. We see real results as we kind of work through with customers. And so an example is a mid-sized staffing firm has actually used us to digitize their entire prevention, risk management, and safety suite. They basically repurposed 2 full-time FTEs, and they cut their insurance costs by a couple of $1 million after 18 months of working with our organization. And we see things like this as being the results companies can achieve when they take a proactive approach to risk management and working through better ways to create healthier and safer environments. So with that, open any questions if anyone has any, and if not, thank you all very much for the time.
David, thanks so much. Quick question for you. How big of a problem is this? I think obviously we can kind of work our way backward from the amount of traction you've had with some large enterprises and understand it is a big problem, but how's that sort of problem and its size accelerated through COVID, I guess? Where does it stand today? And then how do you sort of help businesses measure the extent of that problem for them personally?
Yeah, great questions across the board. So in kind of reverse order, one, through COVID, risk management has become a significantly greater problem. You had a function that was designed to be relatively slow moving. Someone slips and falls in the plant. I get them training in 6 months, everything is fine, to, oh my God, there's a COVID outbreak. If I don't react in 2 hours, someone could die. So we see this rapid evolution in terms of what kind of burden is being placed on the risk management function, driving a significant need for processes, systems, and tools to accelerate their ability to help. We find that businesses spend anywhere from 1 to to $100 million on insurance coverages and insurance premiums, and not realizing that their peers may be outperforming by upwards of 10x from people who are best in class to people who are worst in class. And this is margins that are dropping straight to the bottom line. So as we think about finding ways to help people understand the problem, we're looking at things like claims cost, how much time they're spending in terms of actually able to deal with these trainings and issues internally, how much productivity they're losing across claims and people going back to work, and ultimately how much more profitable they could be if they spent more time trying to prevent, manage, and triage instead of just dealing with it as another line item they can go ahead and purchase when something goes wrong.